Hi everyone. We're just going to give everybody another minute to join. So bear with us. We'll get started in just 60 seconds. Thank you. Hi everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. I'm Donna Pearlstein, VP Marketing at Axonize, and I'll be your moderator for this session. The session today will be approximately 45 to 50 minutes in length, followed by a question and answer session. We are here to explore what a smart building end-to-end solution looks like and to take a deep dive into a technical demo of how the platform works and to see real-life smart building data in action. Please feel free to ask questions in the questions tab at any point during the discussion. We'll be answering questions at the end of the demo. At this point, I would like to introduce our speakers. We have Yaniv Ratzin, Axonize CEO, and we have Michael Maoz, VP Customer Success, and of course myself. I would like to quickly review what we're going to cover today. So we'll start with smart building top challenges. We'll go into the solution for smart building obstacles with an end-to-end solution. Then we'll jump into a live demo of capabilities of our platform, followed by real-life smart building case studies, and then a demo of our smart building end-to-end starter kit. And then we'll have about 10 to 15 minutes for questions at the end. Yaniv, over to you.
Thank you, Donna. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us. So talking about the smart building challenges, it starts with connecting lots of devices from different vendors, different manufacturers, using different protocols, and not only devices and sensors, but also other systems and application within the building. It can be a meeting room, a booking system, employee directory, and so on and so on. Then the next challenge would be to build the application, the custom application for the specific customer or the specific building, including all the business logic, dashboards, widgets, reports, automation, rules engine, analytics, and so on. So you need to build a custom app for the customer. The next challenge would be for companies with multiple location and clustering and floors and so on. So getting the data in a clustered way in different regions, different cities, different countries, different buildings, and so on. And the fourth one would be scaling to millions of devices. The Axonize smart building solutions is built upon 5 main pillars. The asset management, so managing the devices, the assets within the building. Visualization, including the dashboards, widget, charts, building dashboard per specific department, per specific position. The automation part, which starts with a very basic rules engine and goes through more complex workflows. If many conditions are met, then doing something from sending SMS to triggering other applications and so on. The next pillar is the analytics, from basic analytics through advanced analytics to machine learning, AI, and so on, which is also part of managing the building. And cybersecurity. When you introduce new devices, sensor systems from third-party applications and vendors, you need to make sure that the devices are not getting hurt, and so we provide some threat analysis and so on, threat analysis and so on. Next. So what Axonize provides is a SaaS platform. We enable our customers to connect any device of any type, any application, any system. We enable our customers to build the application, the custom app application for a specific building, for the master building, and so on, without writing any line of code. We provide the hierarchical management, so we support the world and then countries, cities, a few buildings within the city to the specific building, specific floor, until the level of the device level. And with Axonize, a specific architecture, we enable our customers to start small and scale later, so you don't have to invest lots of budget, and we'll talk about it later. You don't have to invest lots of budget to start with a specific use case, 1, 2, 3 use cases, and see the ROI immediately. And that's it. Now, Michael, over to you to present a live demo of our solution.
Okay, just a minute. We're just switching screens over to the demo. Take a second.
Okay, Yaniv, thank you very much. As Dana presented earlier, my name is Michael. I'm VP Customer Success here at Axonize. Apologies, a bit under the weather. And I'll be providing a quick demo to see the portal application itself, what we have in our offering, what you can enjoy. So before diving in, just in a nutshell, what we do. So we enable easy connection to any device. Any system, including legacy system, we connected to ancient systems that were there available in the 70s and 80s, different platforms, and all seamlessly and instantaneously. And we'll see this in a moment. You can manage all your data. You can gain valuable insights from all the data driven into the system from different devices and systems, control the devices and the systems from a single pane of glass. So let's jump in. Before just going over the screens, let me show you how we can easily, I said seamlessly, we can add and connect to new data, which is usually a challenge. In our technology, it's done simple with our self-service gateway or generic parser. Before going in, we can create a new application which already include things like default dashboards, products, you see a long list here, reports, and so on. So let's easily create one of these applications. In the scrolling down, we can create the Smart Building app. Let's give it a name. So easy data connection. Even like magic, you can add also any logo to the system. I think we do magic, so selected these icons. And now the application is created. Now, as you see, we'll be navigating now directly into the new application, which was created. Takes only a few moments. And here we see the name of the application, the logo. And before touching anything, we've got the landing screen, which is the boards. We have a default dashboards, which is available in any application, any tenant. Currently, no devices in, so everything's showing 0. We have occupancy dashboard also out of the box. Once we populate devices, we will be able to see data automatically in these widgets. In addition, we have also the floor plans. We can upload the diagrams themselves, and they'll be displayed here with all the devices upon them. In addition, we also already have lots of products populated within the application without us touching anything yet. And last but not least, we have also reports, a long list of available reports already in the system, such that you can also easily add new reports. We'll touch this later on. Now let's see how easy it is to really create a new product and add new devices. So I'll create a product. Let's call it Prod Easy Connect. I manufactured, so Michael, the manufacturer. Clicking next, and clicking save, we'll have a new tab available, which is called Advanced. This is actually our generic parser. Now, data is sent by data payloads. This is a simple payload, which includes here an ID of the sensor itself, a way of us connecting and correlating to an application, to a device within Actinize, the time format for the readings, and 3 metrics: temperature, humidity, and CO2. So now we can upload the same payload into Actinize. In no time, we see that we have the file name and the date added. We select, in this case, HTTP protocol, and let's start really quickly just mapping the data. So Actinize system fields are the Actinize fields here, device ID, time step, and so on. And this is what we get from the JSON. So the sensor serial was the ID of the device. The timestamp was the time. That's what it was called there. And I will go into the actual data. So we see here, for example, that we have temperature. We can add functions. Here is the list. We can, if the data comes in decimal, we want to display in hex, vice versa, different date times, substrings, and so on. Here we just put the name, name of the reading itself, and every event in Actinize has a code and a name, and we have 1 metric in. Let's continue to the second one. Scroll down. Next one is the humidity. Call it humidity, and select humidity. Now we have about, I think, over 1,000 events in Actinize, including a few generic ones. So not everything will be so easily accessible, but it is done easy here. I can just write CO2, and I get the type code, the Actinize type code, the event. I click. I've got all the data here, and let's just save it here. Now what we'll do. Now what we'll do, I want to simulate data being sent into the application itself. So let's, again, go to the product. So we have here a gateway ID. 8021 is the port, and let's copy the authorization code. I've got already my Postman ready here. Go to the headers. I'll put in the authorization code, 8021. And here we have already a set of readings. Now let's just make sure that the sensor serial ID is the correct one. We'll go to devices. And we should have a device that is generated. Okay. We'll go and set an ID here, 123123. Just make it, keep it simple. Click save, and put in here. Okay, so now I just send the data, and I hope to receive a status 200 once data is sent over. Let's give it just a moment. It's sending the data on its way. Once the data will be sent, I'll see the status 200. So I hope to be able to see the payload the data itself within Exonize, just down here. Until this is done, Omri, can we have a look at the events? Okay, so let me just refresh. We have also events. What are events within Exonize? Every event has a type code, temperature, humidity, and so on. We can play around with the way the events are displayed within Exonize, different icons, different colors, and so on. And this is actually done in the events which are generated when we create the mapping. So again, I just refreshed this. Easy connect. And we'll see this in a moment down here. Okay, let's send the data again. Okay, now we see the data that was sent over. Go back to the device, and the data is in. So we see the 3 different metrics that we sent over, and the event should be populated. It could take it a few moments. So I'll just give it another attempt here. Crossing our fingers. Okay, that should work. We'll have a look at this in a moment. Okay, so this is the way you can easily parse data into Exonize. In other platforms, it's a big challenge. It's something that takes a long time, and here you see that it's done really in no time. Now let's deep dive into our demo, which displays a building, a facility, which we manage. You see this facility here holds exactly 200 devices. It's broken down into groups, which are used for logic and different calculations. For example, we have here the first floor. I can filter the data, and I can see devices which belong to the first floor. We see Albert is the name of a space, an office. We see the different readings. We've got instantaneous events, emergency events, and so on. Let's take an example for Albert. We see the connection is the status is connected, and we see the HVAC system, the air conditioning, the amount of energy that it consumes. Energy is something that takes many dollars out of managing a property, and we'd like to utilize it and minimize the expenses here. We'll see how Exonize helps us achieve that. Properties shows us different properties of the device, the name, the product, and the type, the groups it belongs to. As I said, groups allows us to perform all kinds of calculation, reach different insights in different sections, different IDs. I used this before to push the data into Exonize, and so on. Charts allow us to see data for the specific device. So we see here, for example, that we're looking at line chart. You've got many different options here, including aggregation functions, aggregation times. I can select additional metrics here or additional readings. I can compare it to different devices. I'm not limited to display data for this device only. I can also select, for example, machine learning. For example, I want to see the forecast. So I select the forecast, and I see that the trend is going up. That could have some meaning for me. I can zoom into the data itself, identify interesting data points, and so on. I can select different time ranges. So here I selected today, and I can compare to the previous time range would be yesterday. And I see here the 2 different lines with the comparison and correlations. Selecting the readings, I have all the readings, all the historical readings that the device ever received. I can export to PDF, CSV, and Excel. I can select different time span. I can filter, for example, only by the energy readings. I can easily also sort ascending, descending. And devices which support also commands, I can also send commands. I can turn on or off the air conditioning itself. And I've got the location of the device itself, which I can see. Let's see where this device is located. We'll find it in a moment. Here. The device is located up here. So these are the different options that we have here. As I said, we'll go back to the groupings. So I've got here a lot of data, which includes push buttons, HVAC, elevators, really endless devices, which give us a full picture of what's going on in the room, occupancy, movement, temperature, comfort, and so on. If I click the group device, can click the group device overview, and here I see all the aggregated data for the entire floor. I see that the entire floor has, apologies, can we see? Okay. We can see we have 8% of desk utilization. We've got the total of over 3,000 kilowatts of energy, which is used, a number of free desks, and so on. Room utilization, so a lot of data which gives you excellent insights. You can also see the data by specific devices. For example, Albert also has his own group device, and I see the total amount of energy, and 0 people now in this office. If I select the entire first floor, I can also see all the devices which are placed on the diagram itself, and gain, again, insights here. I see all the devices here, the different colors and icons, as I said, are configurable in the product itself as an event. We'll have a look at this. I can hover over and see that in room Lutithia number 4, this desk is free, so people can use it, as opposed to the Apophis 9, which is currently occupied. We get also the full stats for the entire room, office, building, and so on, which we can display later on also in a dashboard. We have different push buttons. For example, this one is a push button for water closet cleaning. If we're out of toilet paper, you can push a button to replace. We can put this automatically, which identifies requirements to change or clean toilets, restrooms. We can put a counter, a door magnet, which gives us the number of times a door was open. We can calculate the number of people that use the restroom, and set a rule, we'll see this later on, every 30, 40 people or less, call in automatically a cleaner. Same here. So these are the different options with devices. We'll look at the second floor later on. Going now into products. So for example, we said that we have the Lutithia 2 Apophis air conditioning. I see that this is a manufacturer product for SmartDev, and it's HVAC. So let's see how this is defined. So going to the HVAC, I go to the events. I see the energy event itself, and scrolling down, I can see how this is easily configurable. I can change the icons, selecting from this list, which will be opened up later on. I can select any color which I want, both just scrolling and selecting, or pasting the color code itself. I can add additional values, and I can also create an aggregation. Creating an aggregation actually creates another event or new readings that are seen by Actimize as events. And what does that mean? They can be used as threshold for rule. They can be used in dashboards. They can be used in reports. Endless options of use cases, and your imagination is really the limit here. You can select the different events, aggregation times, and so on. Let's close this without saving. And let's move into the rules. The rules, I think, are a killer feature here in Actimize, both because they're super, super flexible and easy to create, and very, very powerful. For example, let's take an example of replacing the toilet paper. Configured with a general tab, putting a name for the rule so it's easy to identify, a description. You can select the severity of this event or the alarm. Some would say that being out of toilet paper is critical, so you can select critical. Moving on, we see the time tab, and we have here 3 different activation types. A period would fit something that you want to set the time in which the device is active. There could be devices or rules, that are active 24/7. If it's a fire alarm, if it's things that have to do with security, if you have, for example, a a sensor that identifies floods, so you want this to be active 24/7. Others could be active for working days. I don't know, it could be Monday to Friday from, I don't know, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., 6:20, 6:18. That could apply to energy saving, HVACs, and so on. So you can set this any day of the week according to the hours you wish. You can put on the weekend to display to be active for the entire weekend or not at all. Schedule is something that applies to rules that don't require condition or by schedule. For example, if I want to turn off all the air conditionings every day at 3 p.m. or 3:05, I'd add the schedule. I can add another time if someone turns the night shift, for example, so they could also have the air conditioning turned on later on. You could set this to weekly and monthly as well. And we have a relative rule. A relative rule is something that is triggered before or after or during something that happens. For example, if you want to turn on lights in a certain area or air conditionings 10 minutes or 15 minutes before start of a meeting, so you'd use this option. Moving on to conditions. So we'll see the different conditions later on that we have here. Here we see that the conditioning is replace solar paper. We have 3 condition levels: app, device, and product. And this is here just to save you time. If you've got a condition that will apply to every single device within the application that is connected to this event, temperature, out of toilet paper, whatever, so you can select the app or the product instead of selecting device and adding all the devices. In this case, I selected the device level. I can select it for a specific device. I don't need it for the entire devices, and selecting the reading itself, which actually triggers the rule. Clicking done, I can add this set of conditions. We have threshold and threshold with duration. For example, if you want to shut down the air conditioning when someone is not in an office, you'd put in shut down when a sensor identifies that there's no movement. But if someone just went to grab coffee or to the restroom for 5 minutes, you can put it with duration. If there's no sensor movement for 10 minutes, only then shut down the air conditioning. Entering and exiting geofence, this is also supported with and without duration. Different use cases could be equipment that you want to monitor and get notifications if it's taken out of a specific geofence, or maybe get the notification only if it gets in or out of the geofence for X amount of time. Instantaneous could be, this rule would be instantaneous. Could we push a button and we generate an action for cleaning the restrooms? We have a use case in a municipality down south that kindergartens have video cameras for security reasons, but due to local regulations, you can't just stream data or video out of kindergartens of kids. So there's what they call a panic button, which only if this panic button is pressed, only then is the video streamed to the relevant location for safety and security reasons. Compare different readings. So one reading could be a threshold of another reading. We could create a aggregated, for example, if we want to see where we're standing compared to the average energy consumption. So we could create average for the last month and use this as a threshold for our specific use case, our specific air conditioning or lighting system. So these are the different readings. The actions that we support in this case would be sending a notification to the maintenance staff in an SMS. Please replace toilet paper per warning from the device name would give them the location of the device which triggered this event, and the trigger event and the event time. When did that happen? So we know if we should rush or we've got time. Adding a parameter is super easy, opening just curly brackets and selecting whichever parameter you wish. And the different action we support, so sending an SMS, an email, and a phone call. Sending a web service, you may want to, I don't know, after replacing 100 toilet papers, putting a new order for new toilet papers. So that could be using some SAP or ERP system. You could be sending a command to a device. We have this example with air conditioning, turning on and off. We'll see this later on, and change device settings. A more interesting not more important, more interesting rule that we have here is saving energy. So I want to have the air conditioning shut down when the space is unoccupied, when there's no one in the office to enjoy the cooling or the heating, when the temperature is out of these between 22 and 25, and when the door is open, because door open just wastes energy. So the time here, as I said, we select period. It doesn't really matter. We want this activated 24/7. And we have here the different conditions with an and operator between them. So the temperature should be under or over 25, no presence for 5 minutes, and the door is open. And in this case, what we do, we send a command to the device. So we select the device that we want this to apply to, and the command could be on or off. In this case, off would make sense. And that's how you save a lot of energy without touching a button, creating a rule one time, and this runs forever or until you change it. Here you can request, like we requested toilet paper, we can request also cleaners. You can optimize cleaning. Today's method in most facilities are having a cleaning staff which go over through all the rooms, all the offices, and they manage to reach every office 3 times a day or every space 3 times a day. The space could be used or could be not used, so they could clean 3 times a certain area which no one used. Here we move to data-driven maintenance or cleaning. They'll be notified if someone wants a certain area cleaned, or they'll be notified. For example, we have here, I think, a passive water closet cleaning, which only if someone enters after 30 people that enter a certain area, in this case, any one of the water closet toilets, only then will automatically the cleaning staff will be called in. In that way, with the same head count, you achieve much better results and much higher user satisfaction. This, of course, can be applied to endless use cases. Here we have evening and weekend shutdown. So I could set a rule that every day at 6:30 p.m., the air conditioning will be shut down. But we have some people that do work later on, so I'd add a condition that only if the office is unoccupied, then shut down this specific air conditioning. We also have comfort sensors, which include temperature, humidity, pollution, excessive noise, and so on and so on. We'd like to get notified. This could be useful for any working space. It could be useful for factories. If the noise levels are too high, we'd like to get notifications. If there's some toxic gas, we'd be happy to know upfront before seeing people just fall down and collapse. Again, creating rules is super easy and simple, and as you see here, everything is with a click of a button, selection, and the rule is there and available. Next, I'll try to hurry up because not too much time left. Our user, we have a very useful user management feature here. You can easily add new users to the system, putting a name, email, selecting a role and a profile. We have 5 default profiles, and you can easily add a new profile. Again, the click of a button, setting the permissions, just selecting the checkboxes, together with the profiles themselves, which also can be set to enable specific access to specific access to specific devices. So if you take the roles and the profiles together, that allows you a full control over who has access to which element in the system down to the device level. And that's super important for big organizations to make sure that no one messes around with things he's not supposed to touch or to see. Auditing gives you all the actions that were done within the systems. Reports is something super important. Each one of these pages, by the way, you can save as a report. You can set different filtering, save a report if it's something that you'll be using more than once, and will be saved down here. Here we have a list of reports which are out of the box. Some of them were used or created by different users. And you can also create 3 important reports, all the readings history with different filtering, usability, how many entities were created or deleted, and communication report, how many SMS calls and emails were sent from the system. Now let's jump up to the boards. So as we saw before, we have the general dashboard, which is available to anyone in the system with full information about all the devices, how many connected, all the alarms, more specific information about the alarms, the different charts that we can see also here, as we saw in the device page. Space utilization. Now this is I think also a killer app that we have. We can connect to any bookings, almost any booking system which is out there, and see which space was booked and for when. We can see also by connecting to the sensors which are placed or located within these spaces, the usage. So we can know if an office was booked and unused. We can know, we can get information if someone just took a conference room without booking it. We see the different options here: booked, unoccupied, unbooked and occupied, and so on. Hovering over, we get the specifics. Here we see 66, 2/3 of the time, the space was booked and unoccupied, and that's a waste of a available resource. Someone wanted to book this space, but couldn't because it was already booked, and for no reason. And booked and unoccupied, unbooked and unoccupied is the second option we have here. And here, luckily today, we see that we have also the unbooked and occupied. So someone just broke into a room 5% of the time in the 7-9 and just used it. Building occupancy, we see here matrix of how many free desks we have on the building level, and we can have it also on a few buildings level. Occupied hot desk statistics of percentage, number of people currently in the building. We see the desk utilization in a graph here. We can also log into or zoom in to see more information. Last day's occupancy, we can see trends, we can see number of people over time. And here down here, we can see the floor's occupancy with the heat map. So this is no numbers, but it gives us an excellent picture of what's going on in our building. When we see a zone which has a lot of red, many people there, maybe we could also send cleaners there live. We could maybe send security, depend what venue. If it's a stadium, so an area with many people could suggest that something requires policing or whatever. We can see here that people don't use the stairs, and they're lazy and they use the elevators. Get into all kinds of interesting insights here. Energy consumption, we can see all the HVAC systems which are used and how many kilowatts of energy they're being using for the day. We can see here the anomalies. So an anomaly in AC systems or any energy systems is important. That could take our attention, maybe requires something to be done. Energy consumption, floor 1 versus floor 2. So we see that floor 1 wastes a lot of energy. We can maybe add also a metric to see the number of people here, and that could maybe explain why the energy is consumed much more there. We see another correlation by numbers, the current usage of energy for the two spaces. This is similar to the devices page that we saw. And the last dashboard we created just gives us comfort information in gauge reports. I can see that yellow could suggest that it's 26.7 degrees, maybe too hot. Carbon dioxide levels up to 400 apparently is okay, and so on and so on. By room, we can see the comfort, the temperature correlated to the carbon dioxide, which we can create also a rule on. If it breaks a certain threshold, we can maybe turn on the HVAC, which we can also do down from here. Creating a dashboard is super easy and simple, like almost everything in the system, just by widgets. You see the full list of widgets here. Many of them you saw used in the different dashboards. Let me show you the rest of them. The gauges, the commands, KPIs, you can set in KPIs. Space utilization, which you saw the charts that you can add more and more readings, events from different devices, not limited to one. The heat map, the map itself. We can also stream video, see the weather in certain location, and so on. So I hope I managed to, in a nutshell, show you what Axonize is and what it can provide you with. And now Donna will review some of our smart building case studies that are already in action.
Thanks, Michael. Just give us a second to share the presentation once again. Okay, the first case study, we selected 4 unique case studies which we'd like to present to you today. The first case study is of one of our customers who is a service company in building management with a revenue of tens of billions of dollars. Of course, we are unable to share the company's name for confidentiality reasons. However, their goal was to meet customer demands globally by capturing data to enhance operations and building structure. The company initially began focusing on a short-term plan, which included building up their customers' confidence and trust in new technology. So they began measuring and optimizing labor, internal costs, and workplace experience. Proving the technology and value that the Axonize technology brings with it led to the long-term plan of rolling out the smart building solutions to customers. These long-term plan goals rely heavily on data and insights from the smart building platform. The main target is analyzing data across thousands of customers from thousands of sites around the world. Their short-term results enabled the company to significantly reduce costs by cutting down their daily cleaning schedule from 15 to 4 cleanings per day. The strong foundation of data and quality standards to capture and report on the data has significantly enhanced their occupant satisfaction. Okay, the next case study is of one of our customers who is a top player in the office, meeting room, and desk utilization globally. Their goal was to create a custom workplace experience for companies worldwide by selling office space and desk usage. Recent results include gaining the ability to identify whether a room is being utilized without being paid for, which has proven to significantly increase their revenue. Additionally, they benefit from the ability to run what they call happy hour desk promotions when space utilization is low, resulting in huge revenue opportunities for this company. Okay, another case study is one of the largest UK employers. They are responsible for the management and operations of hundreds of thousands of square meters in building space. Due to the fact that the budget to manage the space is significant, they realized that incremental savings via occupancy insights could have a huge impact on the company. The inefficient use of buildings carry a large premium, so establishing which offices or buildings are used most and where space is valued was crucial to them. This is also applicable to occupancy insights that help them to manage energy utilization, lighting, and currently parking requirements. So in the initial stages of the launch, they converted 3 conference rooms with low utilization into hot desks. They selected these conference rooms to start with based on the fact that they identified these as high demand resources. Lastly, I wanted to cover a use case, another use case before jumping into the end-to-end starter kit. It is of a project with a large hospital whose main challenge was the identification of available treatment rooms and an overall view of the hospital space utilization. Another one of their major challenges was that the medical devices were continuously being removed from their required location, which significantly delayed emergency treatment. This, of course, led to a reduction in the quality of patient care and in frustrated patients and staff. The initial results of the project show that doctors and nurses are now able to locate medical devices quickly, which of course prevent delays in treatment. The staff also receives notifications when devices are removed from the required location, enabling them to react quickly. Okay, so now that we've seen some customer case studies, I'd like to take to show you some of the companies who are already benefiting from the Axonize Smart Building platform. One of Axonize's key strengths is that we work with many partners that are key players in the IoT industry. Here are some of them listed here. This enables us to provide customers with an end-to-end smart building solution. Okay, now I'm going to review with you what is included in our Smart Building Space Utilization and Comfort Starter Kit. So what you will receive is up to 20 devices that all provide great insights for smart building and offices. An example is motion, presence, comfort, and utilization sensors. You'll also receive an IoT gateway and full access to our smart building platform, including 2 user accounts, custom dashboards, our platform with unique branding for your own company, asset management, advanced analytics, our rules engine, as Michael presented, plus notifications, and lastly, reports. You'll also receive immediate access to new features in the Axonize platform. I'm now going to pass it back to Michael, who will take us through our Smart Building Starter Kit live demo so that you can see exactly what you receive in this kit.
Okay, so thank you, Donna. Back to me. I'll show you my screen again.
Just one moment.
Okay, so before going into the kit, I have a depth here. Or you guys something. So this is the events that were automatically generated after we ran our generic parser. So the events are populated here in the product and can be edited if we wish. Let's jump back to the starter kit that we have. So we'll see what the offering includes here. I'll go to the devices, and we group them in the second floor. So if you see this office, and I can focus on the Celebus office itself, so you should be able to see that we have here all the devices which show us the occupancy of the desks. We can use one for each conference room and then spread them along the building, or get more specific information about each one of the seats available or not. In this case, we see that they are all available here. And we can also run, as we saw before, use the group device and see the free or occupied. We see that it's now free, entirely free, the whole building itself here. We have also the comfort, the Celebus comfort device. Includes a number of readings, the humidity, temperature. We see the carbon dioxide particles per square meter, PSI, pressure, sound pressure, which gives us noise levels, and Volta, or organic compound, which is shown by VOC. On these, we can create different rules that we saw before, getting notifications about the occupancy, about gases that breach a certain threshold and would like to get notifications for. Amount of people currently in a certain area, maybe to send in cleaners and cleaning or maintenance staff, and so on. So this is the offering itself. You can, as Donna said, as Johnny said, we can start small and scale here with this starters kit. And back to you, Anat will show the different cycles. So let me unshare my screen. Okay, so what's next? After discussing all the different features we have here in Axonize, and after discussing the offering, which I think is available by the end of the year. Donna, is that correct?
I think we actually extended the offering
Okay.
for the next couple months.
Okay.
So I think it was through March, actually.
Okay, that's kind of us. So what are the next steps? So how do we move on from here and do something tangible? So step one, as we offer, is starting with the starter kit. All you need is near zero upfront investment. The time and the resources required for step one are minimal, and you can very quickly implement this. I think 2 months is an exaggeration, and you can implement the solution with the starter kit, and you can see the ROI and run to your CFO and tell him, look, this is what we put in and this is what we got out. And then you can decide most likely to extend. Step two, just a smart building workshop we supply, which is a 5-hour workshop. You saw that the application is super simple. That's why not too much time is required for this workshop. We're always here to later on help and answer any questions you may have. And step three, implementation plan and roadmap alignment, which is further down the road.
Great. Well, thank you, Michael. So now what I would like to do is turn it over to you guys, our participants, to ask any questions that you may have. Please feel free to use the chat box or the questions box, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can in the time remaining. We have been getting a few questions in through email, so I'll give you a minute or two, and then I'll start answering some of the questions that we've received thus far and go into others. Okay. Okay, I have a question here. It is, can I set rules and alerts and develop my own dashboard?
The short and long answer is yes. You can easily set in rules, as we saw using UI tools, which are super simple. Putting in a name, selecting the time the rule runs, selecting the device, the level if it's a device, application, or product, and setting in many of our setting in the actions that we have in our offerings. You can do so, by the way, also via API. If you're more techy and enjoy API, we have a very, very open API-friendly option here, both using Postman, as you saw, or using what we call Swagger, which are predefined endpoints, which make life with API much easier.
Terrific. Thank you, Michael. I have another question that I received. They want to know what the cost of the Smart Building Starter Kit is. So, Michael, would you like to answer that, or should I?
I think you know the numbers better than I do.
Okay, so yeah, so the Starter Kit is being offered now through March, as I mentioned, for €2,000. So it's, like Michael mentioned, a near zero investment to get started, start to connect your building with up to 20 different devices. And I believe that it's a €69 per month after that €2,000 investment. So a very small investment to get started, test it out, see if you receive ROI, and then decide, make your decision and decide whether or not it's appealing to you and to your company, and to then scale from there. So that's the answer. We received another question. What if I need to change the business logic or extend the application with custom algorithms?
So yes, this is something that's also supported thanks to our smart hooks, which is a trademark technology we developed and implemented. And I think we saw the example, the machine learning is actually based on a algorithm that were developed by our partners and were implemented within Axonize. You can decide if you want your algorithm to be accessible to all other users or just specifically for yourself.
Terrific, thank you. Another question that just came in. What kind of sensors or systems can I connect to my IoT project?
So very flexible. So if you've got already the data up on the cloud, so we support cloud-to-cloud connection. We support connecting to legacy systems, to any system, new system and legacy systems. We managed to connect, I think the only ones managed to connect to a chiller system, which is there from the 70s or the 80s, very ancient technology. So we managed to connect to that. Of course, devices and sensors and so on.
Terrific. Another question that I just received. What protocols and data structures can I use?
Okay, so we already have a quite a significant list of supported protocols, which I think cover almost all, or really most of the IoT and system requirements. Just to name a few, so MQTT, TCP, UDP, SNMP, Modbus, OPC UA, HTTPS, WebSockets, AMQP. And if there's a justification to add a new protocol, so it takes us between 2 and 5 days to add a new one.
Terrific. I'll give everybody another 30 seconds or so to see if any more questions come in. Okay. Okay, I think no questions have come in. So at this time, since we're coming up to the top of the hour, I'll give you 4 minutes back to the rest of your day. We'd like to thank you all for joining us today. We know your time is valuable, and we trust you benefited from the session. Please do feel free to reach out to us with any additional questions that you might have. Our contact email can be seen on the left-hand corner of the screen. So as I said, please feel free to reach out with any questions or to schedule some time for a more customized demo. And thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.